Number 5. Talk about a major reversal of fortune. Crystal Rock, Ohio resident Deborah McDonald, age 47, won a very small amount on Ohio Lottery's TV game show Cash Explosion Double Play. She had just picked up her money, had spent some of it on wedding rings for her husband and herself, and was out partying when on her way home she was hit by a car and died. Making the sad situation even more eerie, the show she won the money on aired after her death. Number 4. In 2012, 25-year-old Michigan native Amanda Clayton won $1 million in her home state lottery. A while later, she was arrested for collecting $5,500 in food stamps and medical benefits because she hadn't told authorities she was now filthy rich and therefore not eligible for governmental services that were meant for those who were having a hard time making ends meet. Clayton, who had been known to struggle with drug addiction, was even suspected of using her lottery winnings to try to get her neighbors killed. The model citizen and perfect mom was discovered dead of a drug overdose in her bed with her toddler son playing next to her. Let's hope some of the money was left for the boy so he can have a decent life. Number 3. Again in 2012, Chicago resident Aruja Khan won $1 million when he bought an instant lottery ticket at a local 7-Eleven convenience store. The owner of a chain of dry cleaners was so excited that he kissed the clerk's hand and head and gave him $100. Khan decided to take the lump sum of $600,000 instead of the $1 million in yearly installments, which amounted to $425,000 after taxes. He'd said he'd invest some of the money in his businesses and donate some to a children's hospital. But before he could even cash the check, Khan died. After an autopsy, Khan's death was ruled natural since his coronary arteries were said to have narrowed and hardened. Apparently, a few days after the cause of death was released, a family member approached the coroner and asked that the case be reopened. Upon re-examination, cyanide was found, which even in small amounts can be deadly because it stops cells from transporting oxygen in the body, causing a convulsive, extremely violent death. What is really creepy is that the check for the lottery winnings was cashed over a month after Khan's death. And in Illinois, if a lottery winner dies, the money goes to his or her estate, so the check was cashed by his family. Number 2. In 1996, Jeffrey Dampier, who had grown up poor and had been poor all his life, won $20 million in the Illinois lottery. With his newfound wealth, he turned into Santa Claus, splurging on friends and family with houses, new cars, and vacations. He started a gourmet popcorn company in Tampa, Florida with his wife, Crystal, and generously bought an apartment for his wife's sister and her boyfriend to live in. To show their appreciation, the couple plotted to rob the lottery winner, who was later discovered to be having an affair with the sister-in-law. The nice couple, Victoria and Nathaniel, bound and gagged Dampier, and then Nathaniel turned on his girlfriend, threatening to kill her if she didn't kill Dampier. The popcorn man got popped in the back of the head. 10 years later, the sweet Victoria Jackson was found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery, and was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. Nathaniel Jackson is also spending the rest of his life in prison. Number 1. Florida sanitation worker Abraham Shakespeare won $30 million in the Florida State Lottery in 2008. His story, the one of an illiterate man from Lakeland who suddenly became a millionaire, would probably have been a great inspiration to his namesake William Shakespeare if they had lived in the same century. Unfortunately, Tampa resident Dee Moore volunteered to write Abraham's life story instead. Shakespeare squandered a good portion of his fortune, but then in April 2009, he was shot twice in the chest with a .38 caliber gun. He was reported missing until November, then his body was discovered in a backyard under a slab of cement in January of 2010. Who done it? The great biographer herself, Dee Moore, who was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, with an additional 25 years tacked on for good measure. The moral of this story? If you win the lottery, beware of biographers. And learn to read so you can understand the fine print.